Special thank you to our sponsors of Russ Reels Live, the Boulder Falls Inn of Lebanon, Oregon, and the Santiam Teen Center in Staten, Oregon. For more information on the Boulder Falls Inn and their amazing hotel and conference facility, go to boulderfallsinn.com. And for more information on the Santiam Teen Center and how to give to this wonderful organization supporting teens in the Staten Sublimity area, go to santiamteencenter.org. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Russ Reels Live this Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Don't know what time it is where you are, but whatever time it is, I am so glad you're here today. Really, whatever day it is. My assistant's already tomorrow, so who knows? Might be a different day for you. And so, listen, I am so glad that you are here. What a blessing. What a blessing this community is. What a blessing all of you are. I am so excited about my panel for today's show because they are amazing friends that have some incredible perspective on why your health is so important. And we're going to talk a lot about that. But for those of you that know me well, know I've been going through some health challenges over the last year and a half. And it has been really eye-opening to me, educational. I've learned a lot. And in a lot of ways, it's been a real blessing what I've had to go through. And so it's important, though, because it affects every area of your life. And there's so many components and things that go into it. We're going to talk about that. But tonight, I'll let my guests really lead that off. At first, I just want to thank you all for being here. And I want to remind you that I love to connect with you. And if we have not connected, please go to russhedge.com. russhedge.com is the place to go for all of my connection information. And you can also learn more about me. If you're interested in marketing coaching or keynote speaking or live stream producing or any of the things that I do, or if you just want me to put a smile on your face, I love to do that. I'm here to inspire and encourage. In fact, that's why I'm called the Inspiration Specialist, because I'm here to inspire and encourage you to live a purpose-driven life of significance. So what do I mean by that? I want you to be a world changer. I want you to be a difference maker. I want you to do the amazing things God has created you to do. And you have amazing, just ready to pop out of you, whether you know it or not. So I want to encourage you today. So you can connect with me there. You can go to any of my social media, my email, my phone number. It's all there. Or you can even schedule time right on my calendar. Don't wait for me. Just schedule your own appointment. We'll get together. We'll Zoom. I would love to connect with you. I'm all about that. My goal for this year, again, connect with at least 1,000 new people. Last year, it's World Series time, I knocked that out of the park and I'm ready to connect with at least 1,000 this year as well. So very exciting. Also, love for you to subscribe on YouTube. It is so important to build community, and we have a great community on YouTube. Just go to russreels.live. All you got to do, type it in, open a separate tab, go to russreels.live, and make sure and subscribe. I forgot to remind my guests today, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to Russ Reels, to my YouTube page. But anyway, it is a great opportunity to find all the content on Russ Reels Live, Marketing with Russ, and we even have the Experience Live with Russ and Scott is also on there as well now. So it's a great place to go, one-stop shopping. Love to have you be part of that. And last but not least, want to remind you to share this out. Share. You can let people know right now. You can tag them, you can share, you can let them know, and then they'll know there's amazing people here that they want to learn from talking about their health. So if you would please do that. Actually, there's one more thing, and that is if you haven't got your copies of my books like Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose. Also, Erika, one of my guests tonight, co-author of Rattled Awake, Volume 1. Love to have you pick those up either on my website at russhedge.com or on Amazon or any online bookseller. Love to have you do that. Also, I'm working on 2 or 3 other books. One, I just finished a chapter 4 on perspectives on cancer that's coming out probably February of the new year. Just got asked to do another one with one of my co-authors from Out of the Way coming up. So lots of books in the mix. And so excited about that. So, okay, I'm going to get to the topic because we got to get going before we run out of time. And we're going to start with ladies first. Erika's coming in the house to get us started. Hello, Erika.
Hey, Russ, how are you? Loving the purpose driven stuff. What a way to kick off the end of this year, moving into 2024. I absolutely love what you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, I couldn't agree with you more. And you and I are very like minded, and you're doing amazing things. Why don't you just start off by giving everybody a little snapshot of who is Erika and what are you up to?
Well, I think the first thing that people need to know about me, if I had to say who I am, I would say I'm a Christ follower. God is economical. Look at everything he is doing through Russ. It is amazing to watch what Russ is doing with his healing and his restoration, and he will be restored 70 times, 7 times
Amen.
over for sure. We're going to claim that for him. But a lot of what I do, it's kind of spread across the board. So the first thing why I'm here is I'm about juicing to make our Olympic dreams happen, and all about helping others with what Russ was saying, like making sure you reach your full potential so you can smash your own personal best. And we'll get into that. That's a play on words, juicing to make our Olympic dreams happen. But I'm also in a sales culture enablement. I help motivated CEOs get more recurring revenue by shortening their sales cycles and landing their ideal clients and getting them in that growth mindset, a lot of which can't happen in terms of peak performance without what I'm going to talk about here health wise. And then I'm in the Rattled Awake book with Russ, where I'm on a mission to help Gen X women basically avoid society's toxic black hole. There's a lot of objectification that goes on with us, and we're getting shoved into a place that, frankly, we're being told to sit down, shut up, your voice matters not, you're old, you're over the hill, you're past your best by date. So that's what my chapter is going to be about, simply because I am married to a much younger, wonderful man who is my husband. And I get into some of that objectification and projection and gaslighting that happened during that relationship. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. But we're basically here to talk about restoring your gut health and the gut brain axis, and how do certain ingredients help you do that without going to pharma.
There you go. Well, it's interesting because earlier today I'm marketing with Russ. First off, let me just say I love what you're all about, and it's so much. It's hard for me to stay up with, and I thought I moved at a fast pace, but I had an amazing farmer on this morning, and he was talking about healthy foods, and I think you popped in, Eric, into the show. It was amazing, and I had this just shows how God directs things because I hadn't really even planned to have him on and then this show tonight, but it just happened to work out that way. So really good stuff. And there's so much that goes into good health. But before we get into that, we're going to bring Dr. Jeep in the house because he is the man. Jeep, what's up?
Oh, brother, you are the inspiration specialist. You're a constant example. And I love you as well, Erika, talking about our Lord. He is the one. He is the only. He directs all, and he is for all. And I'm so glad to hear you say that. And Erika, you're in so much. I'm sitting here listening. You make me dizzy. It's awesome. I mean, you have a much younger husband. I don't know how he keeps up with you. All that energy. It's just
he doesn't.
Yeah, sure he doesn't.
I wanted the same thing, Jeep. I totally wanted the same thing. But hey, give us a little idea. What are you really all about? Who is Dr. Jeep and what's going on?
Well, my better half, who's not sitting here with me, Vanessa and I are healthcare professional marriage and relationship coaches. And we've been doing this for the last 5 years, but we've been in the marriage and relationship coaching really almost for the last 30 years. And so it's our passion. It's what we love to do. It's helping people with issues that they deal with. A lot of what illness, being overwhelmed, which we all are, it seems to be, and burnout. Just helping with that and helping them show what's really important, helping them communicate, helping them separate work from home to be able to be present when you're at home. And that's what we do, and we love what we do.
Yeah. Well, and no matter what you're doing, whether it's relationships or this your job or whatever, your health is so important. And I know that that's important to you. We've got God, and then he's given us this temple to take care of, and we got to take care of our health. And so next person in, my good friend, Dr. Andy is in the house. Come on. Hey, Andy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Man, love that I'm in a house of believers here right now. That is awesome. Excited to be here.
Well, love hanging out with like-minded people, especially when they love the Lord. And I'm so thankful for that. And Andy, you are a great friend that we haven't been able to chat for a while. So I'm so glad to be able to get you in here, have you join the group. And so much goes into everything we're going to talk about tonight. But let's start with, who is Dr. Andy and what are you up to?
Yeah, I always like describing who I am. It's literally what I help people with, but using my core values, right, to define. These are the things that I stand for. These are the things that try and show up holistically in my life. And that starts with faith, right? I am a believer. And so who I am is defined, through my understanding of God and trying to integrate in all areas of my life, who God designed me to be, and how do I show up every day being an image bearer, right? Specifically trying to demonstrate and express the unique strengths God created in me, and for what purpose. So I am someone that values family. So my wife and 2 kids and my extended family, who I'm very blessed, that live all very close to us. They're extremely important, and spend a lot of time just investing into, being with family, being very intentional, being very present with my family. I'm someone that values every day choosing to learn and grow and expand my character strengths, my knowledge, understanding, but specifically for the purpose of benefiting, certainly glorifying God and benefiting the people that I love and care, and the causes I care about. Probably don't need to go through all my core values. Those 3 alone, I think, do a good job. And I'm a psychologist. So, and I help people to really define their true north. And of course, true north ultimately does start and end with Jesus. But it's amazing when people get really clear. I've probably differentiated between true north and magnetic north with you before, Russ. But it's amazing when you get really clear on a handful of things that are so important to you, that represent what you're all about, and then you make sure that they show up in how you live out your life in every area, whether that's in your church, if it's in your professional life, how all of a sudden it gives clarity, purpose, clarity, conviction, and you start living powerful. And then how to live radically resilient to that true north. That's what I'm all about.
That is so awesome. And it's really interesting because tonight's topic, we're going to cover a gamut of things. We're going to start off with Erika. And, last time I had her on Marketing with Russ, my other live stream, we didn't even get to this topic because we were talking about so much of the other stuff. But, she is all about gut health, and she's going to talk about that. But there's so many areas that go into your health. You might be asking me, those of you that are watching, you might be saying, why do you have a psychologist, a marriage counseling doctor, and a gut, whatever Eric is? I don't know what the name is for that, but anyway,
a gut punch.
There you go. Yes. And no, but it's such a variety. And that's because health affects every area of your life and everything you're doing. So Erika, let's start off with you. I'm just going to let you take it from there.
Yeah, what ended up happening with what I do with Warhammer Juices was actually out of years of just kind of taking care of myself when I got really, really sick, and I was bedridden off and on for 2 years. And what ended up happening was I was always borderline holistic. I was pretty much a vegetarian. And then when I got sick, there were so many things I couldn't eat. There were so many things I was allergic to. There were so many things that were causing inflammation. There was just a ton. And I realized I'm like 2 ingredients away from being a vegan. And so I just cut those out too and became a vegan. And then suddenly, like, my health issues started clearing up. That being said, I'm not a militant vegan. I don't want to scare anyone. You could sit and eat the rarest of filet mignons in front of me. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be like, more power to you, because it's my choice. Now, that being said, once my husband and I got married and he started pursuing his Olympic dream, we noticed that when he started switching over to my diet, I did not force him. He did it out of pursuing the Daniel diet and to cut weight in a healthy way because he's an Olympic level wrestler. And so at that level, a lot of them kind of go I don't think they mean to, but it's sort of an eating dysfunction route where they're being deprived, they're not getting their nutritional content. And because of that, they're doing a lot of things that damage the gut health. And what a lot of people don't realize in general, including some of the wrestlers, is that all health begins in the gut, all health begins in the intestines. And so there is, as Dr. Andrew Huberman talks about, if you want peak performance, if you are depressed, if you are having like maybe autistic burnout, if you are just overwhelmed and have normal burnout, if you're going through menopause, if you are thinking you need, HRT, I'm not saying don't get HRT, but what I'm saying is there are things you can do that can help. And one of them is making sure that you get your proper nutrition. And so I had this question thrown out there is like, how do you get 48 ounces in a 16-ounce container? Well, that's like juicing. You literally get like 3 salads crammed into one juice bottle. And so if you need to maybe take care of your gut or lose weight or just you want the peak performance, there are certain things you can do that will help heal your gut. And one of those things, for example, is like ginger juice. We just put those through clinical trials with oncology patients, with diabetics, with the peak performance athletes. And it knocked down every metric that we could ever imagine. I'm so happy we did that because the oncology patients loved it. The diabetics loved it. We were monitoring certain things about them. They were doing self-monitoring. But for example, in your gut lining, the majority of your serotonin and dopamine is produced. Everybody thinks it's in the brain. It's actually in the gut. So when you can heal your gut, you can stop eating the gluten. You can maybe cut yourself off of dairy. When you start taking things like ginger that heal your gut, guess what? You start producing more serotonin and dopamine. It also helps with the liver. It helps with the detox. It's an anti-parasitic. We don't talk about that enough in the United States. 80% of Americans, they get really squeamish, but they do have parasites. And so these are all things that you can do to kind of help that with just ginger juice. Outside of that, there are, different vegetables and juices like our all natty made with bok choy. That's a cruciferous vegetable. If you are a gentleman who's maybe struggling, in the testosterone area, things like cruciferous vegetables help the body's natural ability to boost testosterone. And so if you're somebody who's like, oh, I've always been meat and potatoes, eat your meat and potatoes, but also eat your cruciferous vegetables, or, shift over and start juicing and get those 3 salads in there via a 16-ounce juice bottle rather than actually eating 3 full salads. So that's just a little bit, but I feel like I'm monopolizing.
No, you're doing great. And you know what?
Yeah,
That's
I
a
totally
perfect,
agree.
that's a lead into to Jeep. I mean, when you're dealing with things that, like you're talking about, affect your testosterone, which affect your relationships with all that kind of stuff, that, those are things that marriages deal with, right, Jeep?
Absolutely. And Erika, I've been a family practitioner for 30 years, and I think I learned more nutrition from you than I ever learned when I was in medical school.
I've heard that doctors do not take sales and marketing and they
And,
don't take nutrition.
and that's exactly right. And
Yeah.
I'm an osteopath, and we're more
Mhm.
towards that realm of
Holistic.
whole body but I can tell you, what you just said. I mean, coming on here with Russ, I contribute, but I learn from everybody that I listen to as well. But to get to what you were saying, Russ, health is so important in your relationship because if you don't have your health, it causes other issues, as we all know. And you're talking about testosterone. I'm a big believer in following those levels. And what you just said, I will definitely use what you told me with clients that we have about eating naturally and eating more whole foods and being more attentive to that. I have to tell you, when I was in practice, I mean, I was pretty bad. I was always a drug lunch. and so come after lunch, I was exhausted. And then come to find that wasn't the only reason. And I started to take my health a lot more seriously. And now, suffice it to say, I'm much better than I was. And so I toot that horn to everybody who will listen, especially the clients that we have, stating that it is so important, not only for yourself, psychologically, emotionally, and physically. All of those are important with a normal relationship with yourself, but also with your partner.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that is, it's an amazing thing how I have learned so much through my cancer journey. And, you alluded to that a little bit, Erica, and that is about, how that's affecting cancer. And then now, of course, I'm a type 1 diabetic because of the treatment, dealing with that and all that. And, Andy, we're going to jump to you because I think that this really affects your mental health too, and how people are working in that area, right?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, I think the relationship that you have with yourself, I think just Dr. G was starting to cover, and I think Erika did as well, is so crucial. And I think I had someone I was working with just recently who came to me and was having significant health issues, and in kind of going through the process that I do, he wasn't going through and taking any of the steps necessary to start to correct his health issues. He wasn't even really making many of his doctor's appointments he was supposed to go to. And so we were trying to define his core values, right? That's one of the foundational things that we do. And as he was doing it, he had put health as one of his core values. And as I asked him what that meant to him and why it was important, he really struggled, right? And he's like, well, I know it's supposed to be a core value. I know it's something that my wife and my doctor keep telling me that should be important to me, but you could tell it wasn't authentic. It wasn't something he had a sense of belief or conviction in. And so we found out trust for him was a word that was absolutely critical, right? He won't do business with anyone he doesn't trust. It's important for him to establish trust with his wife and people that care about him. So when suddenly we made the connection between his health and trust, that he was, breaking the bond of trust between his wife and with his physician, who he was very close with, by not taking the steps necessary, that was enough to create this kind of leverage point for him to really start to take seriously, right, his health and So it's amazing when you start to be able to connect taking care of your health with things that truly are important to you. And, while it certainly would be great to have your health as a core value, sometimes it might be that there's another core value that becomes the anchor point, right? That makes you to really start to take your health seriously. And it's amazing, right? When then you start to trust yourself to take the necessary steps to eat the right foods, to, go to your doctor's appointments, exercise, all those things.
Yeah. I mean, I think people don't realize that enough. And that is how important is your relationship and being connected to yourself. It's not all about us. I understand that, but it starts with us. And it goes back to the old analogy. If we're not taking care of our health, just like if we jump on the plane and we don't take care of ourselves first, we're no good for anybody else. If we are not taking care of our health, we can't get out there and do anything in life, helping our family, our spouses, our people that we work with, our customers, whatever. I mean, we're pretty useless. And so I think that it is so right, Andy. I mean, and it's connected all to your mental health, which is a big topic these days. And Erica, I'm sure you have some ideas about different things through the juicing and through the vegetables and all of that help with specifically areas like that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And before I forget this, I'm going to make one quick segue, and it's almost a shout out to the woman who's helping me with our clinical trials right now. And that's Dr. Deirdre Clark, who's on the platform. But if you're interested in this, let me know and I'll hook you up with Dr. Deirdre Clark, because she has a product. And other people have this product too, but Dr. Deirdre formulates hers, and it's something called Shilajit. And it's for anyone. It helps men and women. But what I'm hearing that it does for men, especially men of a certain age, is it's giving them their libido back. And it's a resin that you get in the Himalayan mountains. And you only take like just a scrape of this resin, and she formulates it with gold. And her patients and her clients are coming back and they're like, oh my gosh, my wife wants me to go away. I mean, So, because I'm on a panel of men, I'm addressing men. But for you women, it's supposed to be something like when you just don't feel right, this stuff is like, we'll put the zip back and everything. But do your own research. But if that's something you're interested in, I will definitely hook you up with Dr. Clark as well, because we work a lot together. Going back to, you were saying the mental state, when we were talking about the gut, as Dr. Andrew Huberman says, when we're talking about peak performance, whether that is in your work, in your play, in your family life, in your relationship with your spouse or your partner, it really does start there, because there is an axis between the brain, the gut, and the liver. You get any one of those out of alignment in the axis, and you can forget peak performance. You're going to move into sluggishness. And so it really is about what you put in is how you're going to show up. And I'll give you one example about how deep this goes. Like in Chinese medicine, in traditional Chinese medicine, I learned this. I used to have really, really, really bad allergies. And I remember hearing and reading and studying and from my Chinese medical practitioner, as well as a colon hydrotherapist, that when the acupressure points in the descending colon get gummed up, triggers your allergies. And so once I took care of that through colon hydrotherapy, guess whose allergies completely cleared up? And
That's
so
awesome.
I know when you don't take care of the whole track, it's going to affect everything. It's going to affect every system. It's like what Dr. Jeep was saying earlier about, after I had my lunch, I wanted to pass out. And what we were learning is that, and I'm not a doctor, people, I'm just somebody who's just really passionate. So I always say, go to Dr. Jeep and ask, and, go to people like Andy who have these kind of medical degrees going on. Cause I'm just, I'm a scrub. But what I've been studying and researching is that when you tax your body with an overly rich meal, an overly heavy meal, whatever, the body is going to focus everything on those systems to the neglect of your other systems. And that's why we hit the wall after a heavy lunch or after Thanksgiving. And that's what we don't want to happen to you. None of us want that to happen to you. We want you to be at your peak performance. So, after a hard Saturday night, you can get up and you can go worship or hang out with your family or hang out with your kids, and you're not going to be tired. Or you're going to watch the Cowboy game, go Cowboys, after Thanksgiving, and you're not going to fall asleep. Stuff like that. It's just about living life to its fullest.
Well, you got to love Thanksgiving then, Erika, because the Cowboys are on every Thanksgiving. But yeah, I love what you're saying, because it does affect every area of your body. And I do something amazing for my allergies, but I may have to talk to you more about what you just said, because that can be a real issue for people. There's so many things, and the body is all interconnected. As I have learned, Jeep, in the last, year plus, that my body's been going through trauma because of the cancer, and it's affected pretty much every area of my body. I'm having problems all around, and it's because it's so connected. And I think that's what people need to realize. If you're concerned about how you're doing on your job, if you're concerned about how you're showing up for your family, if you're concerned on how you're showing up for your spouse, or how you're just being able to have energy to do things that you want to do, all this stuff comes together, right, Jeep?
Oh, it's so important, Russ. And I can't stop bragging about you, because you're just you're just an amazing example of everything that you've gone through, and what you show to us every single day, and the people who follow you, and the people who are your friend, and the people who care about you, which I think I can speak for everybody here that that we all do. But you're so right. I mean, if you don't take care of yourself, and I think the analogy of, we use this a lot in our coaching, is on when you're on the plane, how they tell you to put the put the thing on the oxygen mask on yourself first, because if you don't put it on yourself first, you're not going to be able to help the child that's next to you or anybody else. It's the same thing in your life. If you're not healthy, if you're not physically healthy, you're not going to be there for, if you're a doctor, for your patients. You're not going to be there, whatever occupation that you have, but you're not going to be there for your family. and most notably, your partner, your spouse. So it is so incredibly important. And it is something that I've realized, as I'm sure you have with what you've dealt with, Russ, that it's so important to focus on that. And I just wish that I would have started a lot earlier, but because I have taken my health more seriously, I have felt better. So I'm more present. I'm better for my wife Vanessa. I'm better for my kids, and I'm better for the people who I coach. So I cannot agree with that more, and I cannot push that line of thinking more.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's interesting because for those people that know my good friend Tim Sohn, he's all about perspectives on cancer, and I am blessed to have just written a chapter for the upcoming book for that. He is, all about showing up in spite of what you're going through, but then if you're going through stuff, what are you going to do for yourself, right? How are you going to treat yourself? Where are you going to go with that? And starting with your own body and eating right, Andy, I think how do you focus on your core values and all these important things in your life if you can't even show up, right, Andy?
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely true. I think the key is the idea of finding true north is everybody's true north is a little bit different. Part of the beauty of individuality and being alive is that we're all unique. I was actually sent recently I don't know if it was a TED Talk, but it highlighted a couple of interesting studies that I think are relevant here, where a guy got up and he was talking about the law of attraction. I'm sure most of us here may be familiar with the law of attraction, and he was saying that he thought it was all spiritual mumbo jumbo until he discovered this law of physics known as law in the law of physics known as constructive interference. And that's this idea that when we experience a frequency or wavelength or vibration and it happens to meet its match, it doubles in frequency, right? And so ideally is how that relates for a person is when you meet someone that is authentically paired with you, you meet someone that matches your level of creativity or inspiration, right? It tends to double. Or on the negative side, someone that doubles your sense of frustration or anger. But he went on to talk about the study known as the Spain study, SPANE, and it had 25,000 participants. And they were able to actually measure the frequency or vibration that each person was giving off. And then because they had access to them, they could pair, how the person was feeling or what psychological state they were in. Were they frustrated? Were they bored? Were they excited, feeling love? And they found that there was one particular state, psychological state, a positive one, that produced by far the most powerful state we can exist in. Interestingly, it was the state of authenticity. And the way that they defined authenticity was when we are expressing things that are true and important to us, and there's belief and conviction behind it. Right. And so there's an absence of self-doubt. There's an absence of inner conflict or resistance. And so I think sometimes with the law of attraction, people go out there and try and say, I am healthy. I am, they try and say these things that they want to be true, but they know it's not true. And so it creates inner conflict and it doesn't have any type of real positive effect. But a common friend that we both have, David Osk, right, just recently was saying how he put this into action. He used to say, I love obstacles, but he hates obstacles, right? So it wasn't true. But he shifted it to, I am well equipped and resourced to overcome any obstacles in my life. That, he said, he felt zero conflict with. He started to affirm that. And sure enough, he's leaning into all these obstacles and overcoming them. And so the idea of the law of attraction is that when we're able to operate in the state of authenticity around health, how can we affirm things about our health that are true, that we have deep belief and conviction about, that suddenly then magnetizes, right? Kind of us leaning into taking better care of ourselves and feeling great about it. And then we attract also more opportunities in other people who share our belief and value in health. So I think it's really important to figure out what that is. And it's different for each person, right? Finding that mindset or belief system.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And all of those things, when you are attracting what you're putting out there for sure. And I agree with that. And there's so much good things around that. But again, it comes back to caring for ourselves and the diet we go through. And Erika, it is so important to be intentional. Dandy was talking about authenticity and intentionality. We need to be authentic within ourselves, but be intentional about how we care for ourselves. And so as we get ready for our last round here, give us your the last thoughts you have about all of this that people need to know, and then make sure and let everybody know how they get in touch with you.
Okay. Well, I think my first and foremost thought is if you are not connected with any of these great men, please do so. Pick their brains, follow their posts because they are amazing. And I just met Dr. Jeep and Andy tonight, and I know I'll be hopping off and going to check out their profiles and starting to connect and follow
Likewise.
as well. I think going back, um, for me, I really had to do my own research and start second guessing a lot of what I was hearing from allopathy. I think there's a way to have a functional approach to medicine where East meets West. And there are times where you do have to go Western, as Dr. Jeep knows, with osteopathy.
Yep.
And then there are times that where maybe the Eastern has the better answer. For me and my healing, I had to go alternative modalities. I know several colon hydrotherapists who have been able to help people and actually heal from cancer, and they could pin it back to the colon hydrotherapy sessions and the detoxing and everything that was involved in making sure that the intestines were the shape that they were supposed to be in and they weren't all twisted up on themselves. There were many modalities that I had to go through, but it all starts in your gut, I think, is the thing I really, really want to iterate. And the free gift that I have for everyone is our recipe book. It's things that Peter has had to do to. When I say cut weight, this is a man who naturally is at 140. Tonight he walked in and said, I'm at 128. He's got to be at 125 tomorrow, and he's got to do it healthy because he has to be able to kick some butt in hand-to-hand combat. So how do you do that without having an eating dysfunction, right? So this book is a free 50-page ebook we put together. It's on the top 10 secret recipes for making weight and multiplying strength without suffering. Some people don't want to lose weight. Maybe you just want to multiply strength. So this is about how do you kind of heal the gut and get the access going in the right direction. And I'm going to drop that in the comments here once we do our round robin.
There you go. Well, it's interesting because with all that you're talking about, Michael put a question in the comments here, and I already know your answer, Erika. What are the basic health habits we should start? Food, supplements, exercise. What does the panel think? And I know you're talking about how things start in your gut and what you're putting in there, and all of that is where things start because you get the exercise energy from what you're putting in your body. So Jeep, why don't you add to that and then give us your final thoughts on top of that? And then we'll do a round robin of how to get in touch with everybody. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just so happy to be on this panel. Like I said, Erika just she's really opened up my mind in a lot of ways. Not that when I was in practice, not that I wasn't that way. I've always believed that you should keep your mind open to different schools of thought. And the Eastern way has been around for thousands of years. Our mainstream medicine, has been around for maybe a couple hundred years. So to poo-poo that and not take that seriously, I think is being pretty closed off. But yeah. I totally agree. I mean, it all starts with what you put in your mouth, and you have to be very vigilant about that. We all like to eat, and we're all on occasion not going to eat what we should be, but it's so important. And I'm a firm believer in supplements. I take a number of myself every day, and really push my wife to do the same thing because I know how I feel. And I know when I've recommended how people feel when they take these things. And then last but not least, before I came on here, I was just over at the gym working out. And I know how I feel with endorphins and enkephalins when I'm done. And that's not something that the body makes naturally. So I can't agree with what's been said more with the importance of that. So many times in coaching, finding out that people cannot figure out why they're not why their relationships aren't working out. And you find out that a lot of it is because they don't feel well. Not feeling well, you don't want to be present. And that can be, you don't want to be present because you are ashamed of how you look. You're ashamed of your energy level. You're ashamed that you're not able to perform well in the bedroom, frankly. And that all comes from your health. So if you don't have health and you don't have your God, you don't have anything.
That is so true. That's so true. I'm totally amen to that. Mic drop. All right. Well, Andy, it's the topics are stacking on top of each other. And one thing I wanted to just touch on, because we're not going to have enough time to go deeper than that. I was reading an article on the uses of AI in health and technology. And Denise is here today. And I know that this would be very interesting to her. But it's important to look at new technologies. Not that we want AI to take over the world or anything, but it is important to look at what advantages they have. And I can already tell you that having a CGM or a continual glucose monitor already on my body and getting a insulin pump that's going to be on my body as well, there's a little bit of AI involved in that. It's planning ahead, it's figuring out what my body needs, and it's working for me doing those things. So there's a lot of things where we can benefit from. Any thoughts on that? And then your last thoughts, Andy?
So I'm going to acknowledge first off, I am certainly not an expert in AI as it relates to health. Having said that, I worked as part of a pain clinic. And this was quite a while ago, right? But I remember that there were several devices, right, that people that had chronic debilitating pain, that they were able to utilize that substantially increased their quality of life. I was also working as part of a holistic clinic for a period of time, and it's amazing the advances in medicine, health that they're coming up with that I think is only going to continue to get better. Ultimately, I think it still comes back to that relationship, right, that we have with food, with our health, and how important that is. I think even talking about where to start and setting the right habits. There's a great book, Atomic Habits, out there by what's his name?
James Clear.
James Clear. Thank you. Yeah.
I love that.
It's amazing, right? But I love, he talks about that where a habit becomes habitualized, right? Not something you have to put a lot of effort into. So when it becomes part of your identity. Only part that I would push back on James Clear a little bit with is that instead of starting with the habit that leads to identity, start with the identity first, and then you choose the right habits that support that. So understanding who you are, understanding what you value, and then learning how to create habits around your health that support that. Because there is no one size fits all way of eating, of doing exercise. You need to do something that ultimately is sustainable, repeatable, something that you enjoy, right? And so I think that you need to understand yourself. You need to know yourself well enough to be able to make those choices so that the results stick.
Yeah. Awesome. So good. So good. Oh my goodness. I'm learning so much. I'm going to have 10 notepads filled up from this show. Okay. So we're going to do one last, just how do you get in touch with you? And do you have any special offers starting with Erika?
I do. I am going to hopefully post this comment into the comments. It's basically to my website. And oh my gosh, I was like in the LinkedIn section and I saw Russ going, and I realized, oh, that's the delay. I'm in the wrong place. Anyway, get your free 50-page ebook on the top 10 secret recipes for making weight and multiplying strength without suffering. There's some juice recipes we put in there for you. There's actually food recipes where you can actually use your chompers and get that enjoyment. But there's a whole section in there on like substitutions that are to take the place of things that would cause inflammation, yet still give you that taste that you're craving for, as well as things to stay away from that will perforate your gut and cause leaky gut, like gluten. It's a really lengthy book that we just kind of threw together, and I'm saying 50 pages, 8.5 by 11. So I don't know how long it really is, but it's there in the comments. It will take you to the website. Click on Join the Movement. If you can't click on the link, just go ahead and copy paste it, but do it right now. Open it in another browser window so you don't forget. That's what I got.
Awesome. And in all of that, which was amazing, did you actually give your connection information?
I did earlier, but you can always get a hold of me here on LinkedIn. I am going to pop my links also into the comments. And when you follow me, I follow back. But by and large, always drink your greens. There you go.
And there you go. We actually have it in there for you. The people, all this stuff is clickable, and all that stuff is right below her right now and in the show notes as well. So love it. Love it. All right. Jeep, you're up next.
Well, you can get a hold of Vanessa and I on our website, www.bestfriendsagain.com, because it's always been our opinion, and it's been proven out that you have to be each other's best friend. It's so key in your relationship. Thank you, Dr. Erika. I really appreciate that. It's just so true. If you get on our email list, we have a free book on communication, especially in healthcare professionals, because it's not something that we are taught very well in training. We're taught how to communicate with our patients, but not with our partners. And so that's an issue. You can also get a hold of us on LinkedIn. We have a strong LinkedIn presence. We are on Facebook and Instagram as well. But I would just like to thank you, my brother Russ, for having me on this panel and getting the chance to meet these wonderful people.
Amazing. Well, love having you here. Love having you here. Andy, you got to wrap it up.
All right. Batting cleanup. So also want to start off with just thank you for inviting me on here, Russ. It's always just a privilege to get a chance to connect with you and to meet two amazing people, and Dr. Jeep and Erika, and love just learning from you. As far as where you can connect with me, certainly here on LinkedIn. My website is ag-thrive.com. You can go there and read more about our philosophy and some of the offers we have. I think the best offer that we have right now is our True North Radical Resilience program. We've had over 500 people go through it in the past year, and the results that people are getting as they develop highly, highly specific resilience strategies that keep pushing them back to their true north have been some of the most exciting results and impact that I've seen in my almost 2 decades of private practice. So.
Awesome. I'm telling you guys, there's so much information here. Everybody needs to go back and watch it on replay. Okay. And we didn't even get a chance to have Alex join in today. She would have added even more.
Yeah.
This whole idea about taking care of yourself and thinking about your health, something we all need to be better at, something we got to be more intentional about. And I just want to thank all of you for being here today and really educating me even more, and everybody watching. Don't forget, everybody, that you can share this out, and you can tag people that you think, hey, I'll bet so-and-so really could use this. Just go ahead and share it or tag them in it. Let them know, because this will help people. It sits on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube forever, infinity and beyond, right? And if you join our YouTube page at russreels.live, then you can watch all of the great, amazing shows. But you definitely want to go back and watch this one again and get all the information. Get your notepad out and start writing everything down, because it was such great information. And I want to thank you all very much for being here. If you would hang tight for 1 second, I'm going to send you to the green room and wrap it up, and I'll be right there to join you. Thanks so much. All right. Well, listen, I'm telling you, it's been an amazing show, and I'm so thankful to have Jeep and Andy and Erika on tonight. And so if you need to connect with them, all their connection points have been in the show notes and in the comments. Please do that. Make it an amazing day, and make sure and join us next Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Next week will be Pacific Standard Time. We're making that switch. We're falling back. So anyway, join us next week at 4 p.m. Make sure you change your clocks and do all that. And we appreciate all you for being here. So have a great day and a great life. And until we see you again, be good. See ya. Bye.